Hi guys, I'm Alex, and today we're going to answer the question, what is the fastest way to learn a language? So when I say learn a language, I'm talking about just being able to communicate with people, whether your grammar is good or bad, your syntax is good or bad, but just being able to get your ideas across to another person and to understand what they're saying. So the very first thing that I have to say is make your target being able to think in that language. Even if you know just small words like where and why and how and going and coming and me and you can start making sentences that'll be useful to you that you can use on a regular basis. And it doesn't matter if it's perfect. It's not going to be. I guarantee you. Because there's so many different circumstances that you're not going to be able to account for. But being able to practice these sentences will help you. So even as I'm just driving down the road to get some food or something, I'll be thinking in German to try and keep myself adept and being able to use that vocabulary. So when I go to talk to a friend, I have the words that I need. I'm able to let them roll off the tongue. Even if they're in the wrong order, they understand me because I've had some extra practice with those words. Number two, get a childhood book that you really like in the target language that you're learning. So I got Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban in German, and it was a wild ride. I started off by reading the first 100 pages, or the first chapter using Google Translate. Then by the time I had left Germany, 3 months after coming there, I was 100 pages in, and then I finished the book in about another month after that. And having those different stages where you know the story, so you don't need a translation, but you can kind of figure out, okay, this is what's happening. These are the characters they're talking about right now, and you'll gradually get more and more understanding of the words from the context that they're displayed in. You'll get context that you can use to understand this is how this word works, this is when I can use it, this is when I can't. And then practicing speaking will improve that even further because now you're getting to try it out. You're going to test if your hypothesis on the definition of these words is actually the right definition. Number three, talk with everyone you can. I mean everyone. Even if you don't have the opportunity to go to the country that has the language you're learning, you can try it wherever you are. There's tons of apps like, there's tons of apps like Tandem or Duolingo where you can have opportunities to practice speaking, even if it's to a computer, or you can make friends in these other countries that you can speak with, or even just find people in your community. All over the world, there are cities that are diverse. I'm sure you can go into a cafe and all these cities are diverse, and there's a good chance you'll find someone in your community who speaks this language. And it's a good way to make a friend. But the more you talk with them, even if you're just practicing simple phrases, you're going to get good practice. In daily life, we only use a handful of phrases all the time, right? Hello, goodbye, how are you, how much does this cost, where do you want to go? Knowing just these few sentences will get you miles ahead. It'll mean that when you go to this country, if you do, you'll be able to get around on your own. And that's a huge step up because you learn so much more. You have an entirely different experience having a self-guided version of your trip somewhere. But furthermore, when you're practicing, don't be afraid to ask questions you already know the answer to. Don't be afraid to ask the same question over and over and over again. Other people will understand you're learning the language. So they don't expect you to be perfect on the first try, and they're happy to help. It's their language. They're excited to help you be more like them. And finally, and I'll do a separate video on this as well, figure out the rules of how to translate words from your language into your target language. So as a quick example of this, chocolate is a good word to translate into other languages. So this is going to be poor pronunciation, but like in Korean, it's chocolat. In French, chocolat. In German, choco. And knowing how to use your own words with either like an accent, a different pronunciation, or like a different ending might be the thing that saves you having to spend tons of time on making flashcards because you just have a handful of words that you know you can translate into that language, that you don't need to learn new words for. You're just figuring out how do the words from your language match up from the words in that language. And like I said, we'll talk about that a bit more as we go. But I hope these tips are helpful just to get you jump started. And there are longer and more practiced routes to fluency. And the fluency that we're talking about with these 4 tips is more like, how can I get around? How can I get to the point where I can comfortably have like a quick conversation with someone? But the more practice you get, no matter where it comes from, whether it be online resources or practice talking or just reading forums of like, what's the best music out there in this language, everything will help you get better in that language. So stay focused, and I'll see you guys in the next video.